What's the nicest thing you've done for someone? I helped a waitress at a restaurant I frequent. After a few months of patronage, I knew most of the staff and was on a first name basis with them. I learned that she was working 6 days per week, 8 to 10 hours per day, and going to school full time, 5 days per week, 6 hours per day, plus she traveled by bus between 2 and 3 hours per day. A quick bit of mental math. On a bad day she could spend 19 hours with her obligations, not counting bathing, eating, or homework. And after she paid for her tuition, she only had 10% of her paycheck left over. As I have no family nor children of my own, I decided to pay for her university. She has since quit her job and is focusing on her studies. She regularly sends me updates about her classes and I'm happy to report she's getting straight A's as a psychology major. An old buddy of mine was having trouble with his graphic design homework, and I was a year ahead of him in university. So he comes to me asking for help because he knows he isn't that good. I proceed to go to his room and sit there for a solid 6 hours helping him understand fundamentals, learn hotkeys, and answer any of his questions. The next day he says he is now passing and his teacher is proud of how much he has improved. He gives me a burrito and we call it even. I came home late on a delayed flight and there was an old woman sobbing at the bus depot because no one was there to take her home. This was in the middle of a bad snowstorm at 1 AM, so no one wanted to drive. I picked her up and drove out of my way to drop her off. Had to drive an extra half hour in the worst conditions ever, but it all worked out. I switched from one type of insulin to another. After switching, I had about 30 vials of Novolog left over that I didn't need. We had a guy come out and do electrical work on our house and saw that he wore an insulin pump. I asked him what kind of insulin he used. He said Novolog. I asked him if he wanted my leftover, non-expired, still sealed vials. He said sure. I imagine he was thinking that it was going to be only a few. I loaded them all up into a Walmart bag and gave them to him. I don't know if he had to pay out of pocket or anything for his, but even if he did, the total cost to him for it could have well exceeded $1,500 in just co-pays alone. He was nearly in tears when I told him to keep it all. This one sticks out. I was at a gas station roughly 11 PM on a weeknight. The young girl in front of me has the counter filled with junk food and soda. Basically the crap to keep you going on a long night. Anyways, her card was declined and she seemed very upset. Keep in mind, while upset she was never rude or anything. Just annoyed. I walked to my car with my stuff after I paid while she sorted out her card issue. I then notice the only other car in the station is filled to the brim with clothes belongings. It then clicks in my head, this girl is down on luck. I walk back in the store and bump into her at the door. I tell her if she wants I'll gladly buy all the things for her and anything else she needs. She gave me this odd look and agreed. I'm probably 24 years old at the time. After helping her carry the stuff to her car, she looked at me with the saddest face and asked, "Why did you do that?" I smiled at her and said, "You were in the store buying all the foods I would be buying in a similar situation, so I figured you were normal. Now if you were buying the bananas and old fruit I would have been more skeptical." We had a short laugh about it and we went our separate ways. Always wondered how things turned out for her. A friend I went to high school with is an elementary school teacher at a school without a lot of money. She did one of those GoFundMe but for teachers things. I can't remember the site exactly or what the project was, something tech related. She posted it on Facebook and there was a decent amount of sharing and stuff, but outside of a few $25 to $50 donations there wasn't a lot of actual activity. A month or two goes by and I check up on it again. It's only like halfway to the goal with a few weeks to spare. I finished it out and paid for the rest of it. I wanna say it was $300 or something like that. Never told anyone I know about it. Left it anonymous on the donation too. This is actually the first time I've mentioned it to anyone at all. Just felt good. I don't know if it's the nicest thing, but a friend of mine was having a bad day, so I surprised her with mozzarella sticks when I saw her that night. She cried. My boyfriend was having a pretty bad day near the end of last week, and after asking him what he needed, alone time to just recover from the day, or if he wanted to see me and he wanted to have alone time and just play video games for like 8 hours, I ordered a pizza and some bread bite things to be delivered to his house. He's not a crier, but he did text me with "What did I do to deserve you?" So that gave me all the warm fuzzies. This happened about 10 years ago. I had an early childhood education class in college that involved observing interacting with preschoolers. The college has a daycare for locals and teachers. One day we all decided to take the kids to a nearby park. This park was pretty secure, but there was a very busy road right next to it, and there were gaps in the fences. One of the kids' moms decided to come early to pick up her son. She parked on the other side of the street and was waiting to cross. The kid saw her and basically immediately started running and climbed through the fence and was going into the street. I noticed and ran as fast as I have ever in my life, leapt over the fence, it was only about 3 feet, and grabbed the boy literally a split second before a huge flatbed truck zoomed past going at least 65+ miles per hour. I looked up and saw the mom and tears were pouring from her eyes and she was screaming, because from her perspective all she could see would definitely give the impression her son was it. So she runs over and I just hand her the boy and she's in total panic and terror. The instructor gets over and tells me thank you and says we are never coming to this park ever again. And she holds the mom as she's crying. I just stand there in shock. She took the kid home. We all walked the kids back to class. I cut the lady's lawn next door for free because she's old. One time I shoveled my elderly neighbor's driveway, Colorado, for her. She was a small lady, widow, of some sort of Asian descent. She made me the most delicious dumplings as a thank you. Like seriously, I've never had dumplings so good. I had one, went upstairs to do something quick, and when I came downstairs my older sister had eaten the entire plate. I was seriously devastated. It's almost 10 years later and the injustice still stings. My boyfriend never thought his birthdays were a special thing. For his birthday I contacted all of his friends, weeks in advance, and asked them to send a short video of them wishing him a happy birthday as some of them are abroad. I then made a compilation video of these as well as pictures of him growing up just to show him how special he is to everyone around him, especially me, and how much he has impacted my life and so many others in such a positive way. I showed him this after I took him on a limousine ride to the Shard in London and gifted him a star in our names at the top of the building. He's done so much for me. I wanted his day to be just as special as he makes every day for me. I've bought groceries and school supplies for several families in the area that obviously needed the help, but didn't have the ability to ask or were just unable to. One that sticks out in my head the most was a young woman who was trying to buy both during a tax holiday we have here in Alabama. She was in front of me at Walmart and just flat out couldn't cover all that she needed, so she started putting stuff back. Her daughter crying over crayons was what broke me. Little girl wanted the big box, and her mom was putting it back. I said excuse me, walked past her and put my card in the reader. No kid should ever have to cry over the big box of crayons. I ate crayons as a kid. I was walking down the street yesterday and someone's garbage can got flipped over because it was windy, so I picked it all up for them. There was quite a bit of trash laid out over their lawn and I assumed they weren't home. It's probably not the nicest thing I've done, but it's the one that came to mind first due to its recency. Hey, that was very nice. You did it without anyone seeing or giving you praise. You the real hero. This kid showed up to track every day and ran in the February cold, in a t-shirt and shorts, so I gave him a hoodie and still see him wearing it all the time. Good man. Taking the blame for something my friend did so he wouldn't get expelled. So did you get expelled instead? No, I just got a detention, but my friend was in probation since he had 2 suspensions that year, so. Bought a car for an employee. I, F/28, was the GM at a pub a few years ago. Had an amazing waitress, F/24, single mother with 1 more on the way. She had no personal transportation in a city with notoriously bad public transit. Still somehow made it to work each day, even if it meant walking her pregnant self 5 miles. She was always stressed about trying to provide for her kids, but was still professional and hardworking. My tax return was pretty good that year, and a friend happened to be selling a reliable older car for a reasonable price. I moved not long after that, but she found me on social media years later to thank me and explain that she was in a good place now and would like to repay me. I turned her down, seeing her success was 100% worth the cost of the car. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more videos and don't forget to like the video if you've enjoyed it.